Freedom. Freedom should not be something you have to deserve. It's something that you naturally have, something that no one can take away from you. So, let's celebrate freedom.
A very happy Independence Day to everyone present here today. I am Rashi Ratan.
I am Shraddha Chaudhary.
And I am Shubham Rathi, and we are your anchors for this incredible day. Today, we have all gathered here to celebrate another landmark of our success, the 75th Independence Day of our country. On this auspicious day, I'm honored to welcome among us our chief guest, Group Captain Anupam Banerjee, our Vice Principal Pastoral, Mr. Anand Kumar, and our Head of Senior School, Rishika Ma'am, and all my benevolent teachers and dear students.
To begin this auspicious occasion, I would like to invite all the dignitaries for the lighting of the ceremonial lamp.
Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampadah. Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampadah. Shatru buddhi vinashaya deepajyotir namostute. Deepajyotir-namostute. Deepajyotir parabrahma. Deepajyotir-janardana.
Thank you, sir and ma'am. Independence Day in India is celebrated religiously throughout the country on this day every year. It holds a tremendous ground in the list of national days since it reminds every Indian about the dawn of a new beginning, a beginning of deliverance from the clutches of British colonialism for more than 200 years.
It was on 15th August 1947 that India was declared independent from British colonialism, and the reins of control were handed over to the leaders of the country. India's gaining of independence was a tryst with destiny, as the struggle for freedom was a long and tiresome one, witnessing the sacrifices of many freedom fighters who laid down their lives on the line.
On this day, 75 years ago, our ancestors, the freedom fighter of our country, achieved independence after centuries of struggle. India became independent and our dream of living in an independent country came true. To celebrate this historic moment, Indians all over the country host flag hosting ceremonies. To do the honors, I would like to invite Vice Chairman Mr. Anirudh Khaitan.
When the clock struck 12, 75 years ago, the entire world was sleeping, but India was rejoicing. Our country, this great nation, got its independence after an unfounded struggle. From a nation of struggles, we have today reached a $2 trillion USD GDP. This is not possible without the hard work and the sheer determination of our leaders and citizens. Dear parents and students, I wish you a very happy 75th Independence Day. And I look forward for your commitment to give back to this great nation what it has given to you. I salute all the freedom fighters of the yesteryears who got us this independence, and also all the brave men and women who are currently fighting at the border to keep us safe and sound, to keep our children safe and sound. Once again, a very, very happy Independence Day to you all. Jai Hind.
It is easy to kill individuals, but you cannot kill their ideas. Great empires crumble while their ideas survive. These words were said by Bhagat Singh when our country was not yet an independent nation. Indeed, it is the idea that our freedom fighters possessed, as a result of which we are commemorating 75 years of Indian independence today.
Greetings for the day. I'm Ishita Bhardwaj, the head girl, with Tanish Paul, the head boy. It is a pleasure to be your chronicler for the day.
For the day, we celebrate our national festival.
For the day when we remember the hardships and sacrifices of our freedom fighters.
We are very pleased to welcome you all, those of you that have been with us for a very long time, as well as to the new members of our family.
We would like to tell you a lesser known fact today. To be noted, on Independence Day, the flag is tied on the bottom of the pole and it is pulled up to mark the independence of the country. On the other hand, on Republic Day, the flag is tied on top of the pole and it is unfurled to mark the celebration. This is done to depict that the country is already independent.
We would love to remind you all the importance of celebrating this day.
To instill a spirit of patriotism in the youth.
To pay tribute to those mercenaries
To honor the memory of our freedom fighters.
who devoted their entire life for the freedom of our country.
But we would also like to honor the mercenaries who work day and night for all of us, the ones who are here and the ones who have been affected by the pandemic. A heartfelt salute for all the healthcare and frontline workers. We are truly grateful for all of you.
With this being said, we would request our Vice Chairman, Mr. Anirudh Khaitan, to hoist the flag on this auspicious day.
Thank you, sir. Small cheer and great welcome makes a merry feast.
After declaring ourselves independent, was the struggle over? After living as a British colony for 200 years, was it easy to transition into an independent country? Choreographed by the faculty of Khaitan Performing Arts Society, Mera Desh is a production that answers all these questions about the aftermath of India's independence. Presenting Mera Desh.
Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
The midnight of August 14th, 1947 symbolized the rebirth of a nation after the slumber of centuries and a long struggle for self-determination.
प्रभांश, तुम्हें पता है ना, आज 15 अगस्त पर भारत अपना 75वां स्वतंत्रता दिवस मनाने जा रहा है। हमारे लिए ये एक महापर्व है। जानते हो कितनी मुश्किल से हमें ये आज़ादी मिली है?
बिल्कुल, मैं जानता हूँ ना। रानी लक्ष्मीबाई, रानी जिंदा कौर, भगत सिंह, राजगुरु, सुखदेव, लालाजी, चंद्रशेखर आजाद और न जाने कितने ही महान देशभक्त थे जिन्होंने अपने प्राणों की आहुति दी, तब जाकर हमें ये आज़ादी मिली। वैसे आ रहे हो, तुम भी कुछ कहो ना।
मैं क्या कहूँ प्रभांश? देखो ना, वोट मुट्ठी भर लोग किसी दूर देश से आते हैं और भारत जैसे विशाल देश को मौत देने में सफल हो जाते हैं। और सिर पर कफन बांधे देशभक्तों ने फरंगी आत्मा को हमेशा से ललकारा है।
कुछ लोगों के दिल में ये विचार आया कि अपनी खोई हुई प्रतिष्ठा और सम्मान को फिर से वापस पाना होगा।
बस अब आगे मैं बताती हूँ। तो शुरुआत होती है 1857 से, जिसके बारे में सुनकर रगों में खून दौड़ना शुरू हो जाता है और सिर गर्व से ऊंचा हो जाता है। पहले हमारे क्रांतिकारी जिन्होंने हमें आज़ादी दिलाई और आज हमारे सैनिक तो देश की सीमा पर डटकर हमारी रक्षा करते हैं।
हाँ यशस्वी, इतने मुश्किल हालातों में भी अपने घर परिवार से दूर
बस अपने देश की रक्षा करना, ऐसे शहीदों को दिल से नमन है।
बिल्कुल, चाहे 1965 हो या 1975, चाहे कारगिल हो या चीन के साथ गलवान में झड़प, हमारे सैनिकों ने हमेशा तिरंगे का सम्मान बढ़ाया है और देश को सुरक्षित रखा है।
देश से है प्यार तो हर पल ये कहना चाहिए, मैं रहूं या ना रहूं, भारत ये रहना चाहिए। देश से है प्यार तो हर पल ये कहना चाहिए, मैं रहूं या ना रहूं, भारत ये रहना चाहिए। सिलसिला ये बाद मेरे यूं ही चलना चाहिए, मैं रहूं या ना रहूं, भारत ये रहना चाहिए। मेरी नस नस तार कर दो और बना दो एक सितार, राग भारत मुझ पे छेड़ो, झंझनाओ बार बार। देश से ये प्रेम आँखों से झलकना चाहिए, मैं रहूं या ना रहूं, भारत ये रहना चाहिए। शत्रु से कह दो जरा सीमा में रहना सीख ले, ये मेरा भारत अमर है, सत्य कहना सीख ले। भक्ति की इस शक्ति को बढ़कर दिखाना चाहिए, मैं रहूं या ना रहूं, भारत ये रहना चाहिए।
आज़ादी को परिभाषित करना मुश्किल है। वैसे आर्या, यशस्वी और प्रभान, तुम्हारे लिए आज़ादी के क्या मायने हैं?
वैसे हर इंसान अपने हिसाब से आज़ादी की एक सीमा तय करता है।
कुछ शब्दों में कहें तो हम अपने ढंग से अपनी ज़िंदगी जी सकते हैं। हम सौभाग्यशाली हैं कि हमने आज़ाद भारत में जन्म लिया।
हम जो ये आज़ादी की खुली हवा में सांस ले रहे हैं,
ये भारत माता के उन सपूतों की याद दिलाता है जिन्होंने अपना सर्वस्व देश के नाम कर दिया।
अब भी जिसका खून न खौला खून नहीं वो पानी है, जो ना आए देश की
जवानी है।
बिल्कुल, लेकिन आजादी की सही कीमत से वही जान सकते हैं जिन्होंने कभी गुलामी झेली हो।
और शायद आज हमारी युवा पीढ़ी इसके सही मायने भूल जाती है।
जरूरत है कि हम अपनी आजादी का सदुपयोग करते हुए हमारे देश को विकास पथ पर आगे लेके जाएं। संस्कृति की सौंधी खुशबू को चारों ओर फैलाएं।
जिस तरह से भारत आज भी आशा की किरण बनकर सूरज की भांति चमक रहा है, उसी तरह चमकता रहे।
तिनका था हमने सवारा, अपनी वो माटी और घर बारा, लुट रहा ये चमन अपना वतन, आँखों से अपनी लुट रहा ये चमन अपना वतन, आँखों से अपनी संकल्प बोल के हम तो निकल पड़े, हजार खोल के गगन कहे विजय हो, विजय हो।
Wow, that was such an exhilarating performance. Trust the dancers of KPS to blow away our minds. Now, to welcome our chief guest, I would like to invite the courteous Astha Arora.
Thank you, Shraddha. Our chief guest for the event is Group Captain Anupam Banerjee. He is a retired Indian Air Force officer who joined NDA in 1989 and was commissioned into the fighter stream of the Indian Air Force in December 1992 and took premature retirement in February this year. In his career spanning 28 years, he has mainly flown MiG-21 and MiG-27 aircraft. He is also a qualified civil aviator and is a holder of airline transport pilot license. In 1999, he actively took part in Kargil conflict and was awarded mention in dispatches. Other than his operational tenures in various fighter squadrons, he has served as an instructor at the National Defence Academy, as a faculty member at the Centre for Leadership Training and Behavioural Sciences of Indian Air Force. He is an alumni of the prestigious Defence Service Staff College, Wellington, and has also participated in various management development programs held at various institutions like IIM Ahmedabad, Indian School of Business Bangalore, etc. As a spokesperson of Indian Air Force between 2016 and 2020, he was responsible for media engagement, which included events post Balakot of the strike of Indian Air Force. Last year, he was awarded Vishisht Seva Medal for his distinguished service and exceptional commitment to duty. After retirement, he is working as senior consultant in Society of Indian Defence Manufacturers, which is under aegis of Confederation of Indian Industries. He also writes professional articles in various publications and conducts various motivation talks at various institutions. It is a pleasure for us to invite Mr. Anupam Banerjee to address the gathering and share his extensive experience with us. Over to you, sir.
Let me thank Ketan Public School for inviting me here, and thanks to you for that nice introduction of mine. And yes, this year, 15th August is very, very important because we are starting the 75th year of our journey as an independent country. Though our history dates back a few thousand years, but as an independent nation, we started our journey, as you know, on 15th August 1947, and this year is the Swarnim Vijay Varsh also of the win of the 1971 war. And when I was coming to the school, I was just thinking that probably our generation is at the right time to talk about our experience, because I was born in 1970. And 1 year later was 1971 war, and if you look at it, India was just about 25-year-old, and we have seen the journey of last 50 years, and that has been an incredible journey. From not a phone connectivity, maybe one phone connectivity in a locality, to everybody having a mobile phone and everybody is connected. The world has changed upside down. Today I am going to share my experiences that I had as a service officer, as a fighter pilot in Indian Air Force. And I'm going to also talk about what is Indian Air Force, so that some of you out here might take on this as a career option. Because remember one thing, that 75 years back we got our independence, but there's a price you pay to keep the independence. And it's a price which soldiers pay while in the border. That's their job. But at the same time, whenever we are free and we are, getting all the perks of a free country, we must remember that there are soldiers who are paying the price for it. So I'm going to tell you a few stories about the way my journey shaped out. Because I don't think there is any better way than storytelling to tell about your journey. So I just thought I'd summarize it in a slide, that this has been more or less my journey with Indian Air Force. You see, I started after 12th, maybe at the same age group as you all. I was 18-year-old when I joined National Defence Academy. And to be very honest, I grew up in a village and I studied in a vernacular medium school. So when I went for my service selection board interview, I should think in Bengali, translate it into English, and then could communicate my ideas. So I tell people that if I can rise and become the spokesperson of Indian Air Force, being the public face of Indian Air Force from where I started, anybody can reach anywhere. For me, it was a dream which I never thought I'd be able to fulfill. How that dream came, I'll tell you. My father was in ONGC, and after my 12th exam, I had gone to Srinagar. My father was posted there, So as a young boy, I used to go every day for a stroll by the side of the Dal Lake. And one day I was sitting by the side of Dal Lake when I saw two MiG-21s zipping past at a low altitude with a crackling speed of their engines. I looked up and that young boy inside me desired to be in the cockpit. I had no idea what is Indian Air Force, how to get there, but that sight remains stuck in my mind of two MiG-21s flying low over Dal Lake. So I came back to Kolkata and asked one of the persons who was earlier in Indian Navy, long back retired, and I have seen a fighter aircraft and I want to sit in a fighter cockpit. How do I do that? He said, why don't you appear for National Defence Academy? I said, what is National Defence Academy? That was my level of information in 1988. Then he told me, you should know about National Defence Academy, it's a premier institution, and he motivated me. So, in those days, in a middle-class family in West Bengal, there were only two professions that you could aspire for. One is you could be a doctor or you could be an engineer. If you did not make to any of these two, then your life has come to a complete stop. There's nothing beyond that. When I was the only child of my parents, and when I told my mother, she said, I am okay with it, but it will be very difficult to convince your father. I said, but I'm going to try for it because I don't know whether I'll get it or not. And as luck would have had it, I went for my SSB with my tuta photo English. I could convince those people that I'm a passionate person who wants to serve this country. And I got selected, and very soon I was in National Defence Academy. And after finishing my National Defence Academy tenure, this is where I was, first time I flew an aircraft was in 1991. This is an HPT-32 aircraft, Hindustan Pistol Trainer, which is made in India. And I got commissioned in 1992. Thereafter, my journey has been various things, few important things. This is a picture during Kargil War. I'll show you a video. I'm sitting next to my aircraft Mi-27 with a bomb where it is written "Jod ka jhatka dheere se lage." This is a 500 kg bomb. This picture goes viral every year during Kargil Vijay Divas because it was a Star News interview on those days. When I sat next to the photograph, I had no idea that it will last for 22 years, but it has. I've flown mostly this aircraft in my life, Mi-27. It is getting a little cut, but I think this photograph some of you might be aware of. This is post Balakot when I was a spokesperson of Indian Air Force. I was displaying a Pakistani missile that was recovered from our area. You know how Indian Air Force went and struck the Pakistani terrorist camp. This is when, from training, I became a trainer. This is my cadet. I'm training him in his first sortie. This boy is also a Mi-29 pilot now. He's at the moment deployed somewhere in Leh, and we keep talking. I was also leadership trainer of Air Force, spokesperson of Air Force, and here you can see me with the Honorable Prime Minister after the Balakot strike. And this is when I retired. This was about 5 months back, and I decided that in life there are phases, so I have done my part as an active soldier. Now is my time to probably serve the country in a different way. So I joined Confederation of Indian Industries, and we are trying to promote the Honorable Prime Minister's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat by promoting the defense manufacturing in India. We believe in Society of Indian Defense Manufacturers that India can do it, it's just a matter of time. And I can see the future of India sitting here. By the time you guys grow up and come to those places, I'm sure the dream would have been realized. So all the best to the future generation. Okay, coming to this is the aircraft that I've flown most of my life. It's a MiG. I don't know if you know what is the full form of MiG. MiG is the name of, acronym of two scientists who designed this aircraft. One was Mikoyan, so MI of Mikoyan, and Gurovich, so G. It's a Russian aircraft, single engine. It's one of the most powerful single engine aircraft in the world. And if you look at this wing, this can move in air. So this is a swing wing aircraft, where the wing is variable geometry. So depending on the stage of flight, whether we are at a high-speed flight or low-speed flight, you can move the wing in air. Very few aircraft in the world can do that. Guinness may about 4 or 5 aircraft. I was lucky to be flying one of them. and it has got a very powerful engine. And when at low level you sweep your wing back fully and engage your full power, nothing in the world can catch it. It goes supersonic at low level. Very powerful aircraft, and next to that you can see the Mirage 2000 aircraft. I'm not the pilot. Somebody had taken the picture, but I thought I will show you that this is what passion looks like. If you tell me you will not give me food, I'm okay with it. But if you tell me you will not give me flying, I'm not okay with it. This is how flying is. And this is one of the pictures of my squadron. You can see all the fighter boys standing in G-suit. I am here with those days Ray-Ban. So this is the aircraft which is standing behind. A squadron is like a pack. You know, this is number 18 squadron, and this is the only Paramveer Chakra squadron of Indian Air Force, the Flying Bullets. Flying Officer Nirmaljeet Singh Sekho in 1971 war, we are celebrating 50th year, got the only Paramveer Chakra of Indian Air Force over Srinagar. But that time they are not flying MiG-27, they are flying the NAT aircraft. So we are very proud Flying Bullets to be part of the only PVC squadron. And the squadron actually is the one which hunts in pack. I wanted to show you this picture to understand that these are the people who takes the war to the enemy, the fighter pilots. And when you go and fly, the only difference between, I will say, the Army, Navy and Air Force, all of us fight, but the Air Force pilots, the fighter pilots, they fight the war alone. Behind the enemy lines, they are all by themselves. Whereas Army is going together, Navy, they fight in a ship. In Air Force, we have a different mode of fighting. There are few people who take the war to the enemy, but we have a large set of people who support us in the back end. Without them, we just cannot be what we can deliver. You know, it's more like a racing thing. In the show window, you have the racer, but without the team who is changing the tire and moving and quickly doing it, the team is no good. Similarly, in a squadron, we have a large number of air warriors. Without them, the pilots are no good because they have to prepare the aircraft, give you a serviceable aircraft, which then you can use as a weapon platform to deliver across. So, what motivated me? I thought because it's an Independence Day talk, I will talk about my two heroes. One, I'm sure you recognize, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. I'm from Calcutta, but that's not the reason. I always got fascinated by his uniform, military uniform. And what fascinated me more is that he was a politician. Can anybody recognize what is this photograph? Anybody who can tell me what is this photograph?
It is a submarine.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. This is a very important photo. I don't know whether you know about it or not. Subhash Chandra Bose was taken as a prisoner in his own house, and he ran away from that in disguise and traveled across India, walked through Afghanistan, went through the Central Asian countries, and remember, he was not a military officer, he was just a politician. He went to Germany to seek help of Adolf Hitler because he was against the British and he felt enemy's enemy is my friend. When Hitler was not ready to give him support, he said, we are too far away from India, why don't you take help of Japan? So Subhash Chandra Bose traveled from Europe to Singapore in two submarines. In the center of Indian Ocean, he was shifted from one German submarine to a Japanese submarine. Now, I don't know if anybody has seen a submarine. I have been into a submarine for a day and I wanted to come out within the next half an hour. It was so depressing. There is just nothing. Remember, this man was a politician. He traveled 6 months in two submarines across the globe just for one reason. That's love for his nation. We may agree with his ways, we may disagree with his ways, but one thing is no denial, that is love for his nation and the passion for his nation, because of which a politician can don the uniform of a military man, form an army, and take on the mighty British. I don't think we have to go anywhere in the world for any more inspiration than this man. So as a child, I always loved a military uniform because I wanted to look like him. And then is my next hero. I don't know if you know, again we are celebrating, like I told you, 50th, there was 71 war. This is Sam Manekshaw. If you look at this this picture, this is Indira Gandhi, who after 1971 war, she was one of the most powerful prime ministers India ever had. Look at the picture. Can you see the over-imposing personality of Sam Manekshaw? Indira Gandhi is looking dwarfed in front of him. This was Sam Manekshaw, because of whom, and you can see, here he's in 1971 war, he's as the army chief, he's gone to the front and he's talking to a soldier. Why I showed this photograph is that Sam Manekshaw used to say that freedom comes with a price, and all the countrymen should know when to pay the price. Remember one thing, passion, dedication and professionalism, if you have these three things, nothing in the world can stop you. And we do not have to go beyond these two iconic figures. I'm sure you know that he was the first Field Marshal of the Indian Armed Forces. As a Field Marshal, you never retire. You retire when you die. You can wear uniform all your life. You are a 5-star general, and he was the first 5-star general of the Indian Armed Forces, Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw. And he was from a minority community. He was from a Parsi family, and he was supposed to be in Pakistan. But his family decided to stay back in India. So it was good luck for India. So one of the journalists asked him after 1971 war, if you went to Pakistan, what would have happened? And Sam Manekshaw, in his own style, he said that Pakistan would have won the war. So that was Sam Manekshaw. Okay, so what I'm trying to show by this is that you need to have some figures to whom you look up to identify yourself with, and put something for a path to be followed. And this man, I don't like him much, Winston Churchill, but I liked his word. He says, to every person there comes in their lifetime that special moment when they are tapped on the shoulder and offered that chance to do a very special thing, unique to them and fitted to their talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared and unqualified for the work that would be their finest hour. And you know, Winston Churchill presided over a great victory by the Allied forces in the Second World War. And to India he was not very good, but for his own country he was a great leader. But I agree with his words, and I thought, as student you must know this, that you must prepare yourself for that day, because you don't know when that time will come. You need to be prepared so that when history gives you an opportunity, you need to stand up. And I want to show you this video, because history gave me this opportunity. During Kargil War, he was the Chief of Indian Air Force, and one day he landed up incognito in a Srinagar Air Force base. And I was not told that what am I in for. I was told to go in a helicopter, where I found I was sitting with the Chief of Air Staff. I'll show you a video of those days. I just thought I'll share it with you.
I wanted to make sure that I went incognito.
Whatever else it also achieved, the chief's visit was really a morale booster to the young air officers.
When one day my commanding officer came in and he told, Tom, let's go for a briefing. And I went with him, and he took me, instead of the briefing hall, to a helicopter. The helicopter was started up, and I saw the air officer commanding of Srinagar driving down his vehicle. I saw a person getting down from the gypsy who looked very much like the Chief of Air Staff, but he was not wearing his rank badges, neither was wearing any name tab. He was wearing a cap, and I was not very sure. He looked like my chief, but well, chief never arrives like this. As the helicopter started, the one officer was standing next to the cockpit. He told me, Chief of Air Staff wants you inside the cockpit. And it was a shock for me. I went inside. Chief told me to sit down next to him, and he told me that I want you to show me the targets. I want you to assess, because you are the boys who are going to fight. Till now I was hearing that, well, Air Force might be called in, but now you're hearing from the horse's mouth.
The very next day, airstrikes were launched in Dras.
We used MiG-21, MiG-23, MiG-27, MiG-29 aircraft and the Mi-17 helicopter in our offensive action. Initially,
missions, Kargil war, I was leading that very fateful mission in which Flight Lieutenant Nachiketa ejected and he was taken as a prisoner of war, and squad leader Ahuja, who was shot by the Pakistanis after they were taken captivity. But Indian Air Force quickly turned that tide around, and we started bombing the Pakistani positions day in and day out. And within a short span of time, the Pakistanis got overwhelmed because the Pakistani Air Force was not to be seen anywhere. The Indian Air Force on those days was much superior to the Pakistani Air Force, so they never really came to challenge us, and we bombed a lot of Pakistani positions. And as you know, on the 26th of July, we celebrate Kargil Vijay Divas. This was the time when all the Pakistani posts were vacated, and the Indian post occupied with the Pakistanis were vacated, and we won the war. During the war, that photograph that you see is this aircraft. You can see that, like I told you, that we fighter pilots go and fight the war, but people who are behind the scene, the air warriors, they wanted to vent their feelings. So I'll just show you this video so that people wrote graffitis on the bomb. These are 550 bombs.
Back in 1999, these images captured the mood on the ground. The Indian Air Force allowed airmen to post messages on bombs like this, images that made national headlines.
We are lucky people, fighter pilots. We could vent our feelings, anger by dropping bombs. They can't do it. For them, they get their feeling like this. You missed some nice ones, like, one was, this is a sixer from Sachin for Akram. One was this is to Imran from Zin. And there are numerous ones. You have to see them. This was to Nawaj with the thing with a lot of awaj.
So, basically what I want to tell is that one day before the airstrike, I was not sure that I will get an opportunity to actually take an aircraft and bomb the enemy. But the opportunity just came up. And 20 years later, this is in my squadron. I got a gallantry award in Kargil War. So the feeling is of a deja vu when it happened in Balakot, because I lost one of my wingman in that war, and thereafter in 2019, when I was the spokesperson of Indian Air Force, all of a sudden Indian Air Force was tapped in the back and was told, let's go. And we took the war across to the Pakistanis, and we did a very successful strike. The message was posted across. So while it is very important to prepare yourself, it is also very important to know that how to go about it. So if any of you feel that Indian Air Force is a career option for you, I just thought I will tell you very quickly about what is Indian Air Force all about. What are the roles of Indian Air Force? So if you look at the Indian Air Force, the primary task of Indian Air Force is very simple: to defend the enemy skies, the nation's skies from any enemy action. And every inch of the sky is to be defended by the Indian Air Force. That's our mandate from the government. How do we do it? We have fighter operations. There are fighter operations are divided into two parts: air defense and offensive operation. You can see a bomb being dropped from a Jaguar aircraft. These are the strike aircraft which takes the war across, drops. And there's a very important anecdote for the armed forces. They say that Army fights the army of another country. Navy fights the navy of another country, but Air Force has got this good fortune of fighting the army, fighting the navy, fighting the Air Force, and fighting the nation as a whole. Because the medium is through air, and you can fly very quickly across, you can actually take the war 5,000 kilometers inside China or Pakistan. You can do that in a matter of hours. So that is where is the advantage, because the aircraft is flying at a speed of 1,000 kilometers per hour, 1,200 kilometers per hour. So you can very quickly travel. So the medium of air is very versatile. So this is one of the aircraft. This is the Sukhoi 30 aircraft. Can you recognize this place? Yeah, it's over Dubai. So the Indian Air Force is giving a demonstration over Dubai. So this is the fighter aircraft. Then we have the transport and helicopter operations. I'm sure you know this aircraft. This is a Mi-35, and this is the heaviest lifter in the world. And we have another heavy lifter with us. Can anybody recognize this aircraft? This is a Chinook. Okay, so you can see that helicopter is lifting a full-fledged artillery gun, and we have this very own C-17, which is stationed here, very much in Air Force Station, Hendon. It's a very, very huge aircraft, and it can really carry a lot of equipment in very quick time from one theatre to another theatre. Then are the attack helicopters. You know what is an attack helicopter? Normal helicopters carry items from one place to another place, rescue and other thing. Attack helicopters are like fighters, but in a helicopter version. So this is a Mi-25 helicopter, it's a Russian origin, and now we have this. Can anybody say which aircraft is this? Apache. It's a new addition. A hell lot of firepower. You can see it's a beautiful piece of machine. I will have to fly it someday. Then we have got other things like electronic warfare, joint operations with Army, Navy, air surveillance, and a very important thing. What is this? Aid to civil power. Whenever there is a natural calamity, flood, anything, you see the air warriors and armed forces, army, they all come and they assist the nation to quickly fight this. Even during the COVID crisis, you saw armed forces were in a big way involved in quickly ferrying transport and supply, evacuating your own citizens from the other country. So Air Force gives the option to this to the government because of its quick mobility and quick movement facility. So this is another of our main role. And also we enthrall people by doing these displays. This is a beautiful where the aircraft fly inverted on top of the other. This is a Hawk aircraft, and what is the name of this team? It's written there. Surya. Okay, this is the aerobatic team of Indian Air Force. But remember one thing: wars may be fought using weapons and other equipment, but they are won by the men and women who are behind the machines. So it is very important to have training. And before I finish, this is Arjuna, and I want to give you these words from Kathopanishad. Utishthita Jagrata Prapta Vara Na Nivodhata. Swami Vivekananda translated it, arise, awake and stop not till the goal is reached. It's very, very important to have an aim, have a dream, and only when you dream big, you can make it successful. I told you my story. I started from a village, and it was my proudest moment when I did aerobatic. I was the first student of my school because my school started with me. You can imagine in a village. And 25 years later, when I came and did aerobatic over my school in my MiG-27 aircraft, my entire school kids were standing outside with the headmistress who was my teacher. And the pride in her voice, I believe, was something. I was not there, I was in here. The people told me that she was almost in tears. So these are kind of things that only armed forces can give you. But what I'm trying to tell you is that it's not that only that you can serve the nation through armed forces. Like I told you, Indian defense manufacturing industry. Look at the way the medical professionals have stood up and fought the COVID war. You can serve the nation in every capacity. Armed forces is one of the ways. But whatever you do it well, do it with great passion, because the next 25 years is going to decide whether India is going to take the #1 spot in the world. We can do it. If China can come up there, why can't we? We have similar kind of civilizational background. Our civilizations date back to times when we actually were the top GDP earners of the world. We can get back there. It is just that you need to focus your energy and decide that from 75th year to 100th year, when you are going to do your major journey on the end of the 100th year of independence in 2047, India should be #1 in the world. My request to you, work towards that, focus and work towards it. So I just wanted to show you the video. This is a video which was made by the Indian Air Force this year during the Air Force Day. I just thought I will share it with you. It's a nice way to summarize Indian Air Force.
We fly, we fight, we own the blue sky, the earth below, the yonder above. We guard our nation, day and night. Our presence is felt, but we are seldom seen. We strike with precision and power. We defend with valor, swift and smart, undeterred and unfazed. Generations of courage and sacrifice define our flight. We achieve the impossible precision and finesse define our style. We are air warriors. Our people first, mission always. Listen for the sound of our rotors, for the thunder of our engines, and watch as we soar and touch the sky with glory.
As we enter our 89th year, I would like to compliment all air warriors for a job well done in what has turned out to be an extremely challenging year. The IF is in the midst of a transformation, and we are changing the way we fight, train and maintain. Our intense focus on integration, both within the service and with our sister services, needs to continue. Modern weapon systems, sensors and technology being inducted needs to be operationalized rapidly. Given the budget constraints, we have to be innovative in our drive to enhance combat potential. Despite the effect of COVID, we need to maintain a high state of operational readiness at all times and be able to respond at short notice. On this occasion, I would like to extend my warm greetings to all air warriors, NCs, civilians and their families, and assure my countrymen of the Indian Air Force's unflinching resolve to safeguard our sovereignty at any cost. Jai Hind.
A momentous journey of 88 years. From an auxiliary flight to the fourth largest air force in the world. From flying biplanes to modern combat jets. From 7 Hawaii sepoys to a mighty strength of air warriors. The Indian Air Force is transforming at a rapid pace today and innovating with focused upgradations and application of cutting-edge technologies. Our path to rapid modernization is planned and steady. With time, we have acquired state-of-the-art platforms and systems, arming our air warriors with the best and the most lethal weaponry to fight and win. Towards strategic autonomy, we are focusing on indigenous design, development and manufacturing, in consonance with the national drive of Make in India. It is a matter of great pride for us that the Indian Air Force is rapidly inducting and operationalizing indigenous aircrafts, systems and weapons in our arsenal, promoting the primacy of homegrown technology. Seamless integration of resources towards a potent fighting force is what we aim for. Our training methodology is being constantly evolved to ensure that our aircrew and technicians are adequately prepared to meet the challenges of operating modern technologies while managing legacy aircraft and weapon systems. Concerted efforts are being made to train and integrate with friendly air forces, promoting exchange of experience, operational knowledge, and enhancing interoperability. Jointness and international cooperation are our mantra and the way forward. Combat capability of the Indian Armed Forces increases as we strengthen individual core capabilities through synergy. Indian Air Force excels in execution of its operational task to defend the nation's skies while contributing to nation-building efforts with alacrity. Over the years, we have planned and strategized to carry out effect-based operations. With swiftness in response, greatly enhanced reach, precise weapon delivery, and an indomitable spirit of the Indian Air Force continues to maintain a substantial edge over its adversaries. Our greatest strength is our people. Professional, motivated, and highly trained. Committed to defending the nation's sovereignty, whatever the circumstance. Our virtues, ethos, and professionalism are embedded deep within our souls. We are determined committed and dedicated. Soaring high on mighty wings. It doesn't matter what the threat is or where it comes from. The Indian Air Force is ever ready to innovate, integrate, and integrate. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. It was so inspiring to hear about your inspirations and your journey from a student our own age to the amazing personality that you are today. It's a part of our legacy that we give a token of our love and gratitude to all those guests who enlighten us with their presence and their inspiring words. Taking this legacy forward, I would like to request Anand sir to please extend our gratitude to you in the form of a green certificate and a conceived vote.
We have all learned about Independence Day since our birth and throughout our lives. We believe that we know everything there is to know about this occasion. But what if there are some questions that haven't been answered yet? And what if we have chance to get these answers? So here are some of our students with unknown facts about Independence Day. First up, I would like to call Anushka Tomar. Anushka, can the national flag of India be introduced by anyone in the country?
No, not anyone can produce the national flag of India. Only the Khadi development and village industries have the license to produce or supply the national flag of India. Ajay, who is the fashion icon of India?
Anushka, the sterling fashion icon of India is Jawaharlal Nehru. Yes, it's featured in the popular Vogue magazine, where he's wearing a traditional coat and a single-breasted jacket, which became a first fashion trend in the West, and later it became a common name, which is known as Jawar jacket or Nehru jacket in Indian households. Now, my friend Ramdev will tell you about more facts.
Mahatma Gandhi wanted the Congress party to be dispersed after the independence. The Indian National Congress was formed in 1885 as an organization mainly to unite the people who were fighting against the common cause, which was against the British rule. But after we gained independence, he wanted it to be disbanded as the objective of the party had been achieved. Jagrati, do you know who named the border of India and Pakistan?
Yes, it was Sir Cyril Ratcliffe who named the border between India and Pakistan. Even though he never visited India, he was assigned to do such a historic task of the division of our country. Now, let's call Ishan to tell some interesting facts about our currency.
Yes, Jagrati. An interesting fact about our currency is that at the time of independence, the value of 1 rupee was equal to $1, whereas now the value of $1 is equal to around 80 rupees. Anushka, do you know where our national flag came from?
Yes, Ishan. The present national flag is based on Swaraj flag, which was initially the flag of Indian Congress. It was designed in 1921 by Bengali Venkara. The saffron and green color represents the two prominent communities of our country, and the idea of the white strip between them was given by Mahatma Gandhi.
There was no national anthem on the first Independence Day, while Jangan Man was written in 1911 but later on adopted on 24 January 1950. Vande Mataram was the only song as with national status, but it was later adopted as a national song for India.
Not only India has its Independence Day on 15th of August. Liechtenstein, North Korea, South Korea, Bahrain also share their Independence Day with us.
India the peacemaker. India has always been a peacemaker. Certainly, the history speaks of it. India is an invader since in the last 1 lakh years of history.
Nehru wasn't elected as our first Prime Minister. Yes, it wasn't Nehru but Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Sardar Patel was elected in the Prime Ministry fair and square. But as Nehru didn't want to play in second to command to anyone, and also that Gandhi had a soft spot on him, so Sardar Patel was pulled down.
India gets its name from the river Indus, which was the home of the Indus Valley civilization, which is also considered as the first ever civilization. On the other hand, our country's name in Sanskrit is Bharatiya Ganarjya.
National flag hosting. All of us are in the notion that our national flag was first hosted on August 15, 1947. But that isn't true. Our national flag was first hosted on August 7, 1906, in Parsi Bagan Square, Green Park, Calcutta.
Multilingual freedom fighter, the inspiring soul of India, Bhagat Singh. He was highly fluent with many different languages like Swedish, French, Hindi, Arabic, and Punjabi. He was also a voracious reader.
Thank you, everyone. These were such an enlightening set of facts that have previously been unknown to us. So, before proceeding towards the end of this day, let us take a pledge.
A pledge to always remember that this freedom isn't gifted, but has been achieved with tremendous struggle.
A pledge to never forget and always respect the sacrifice made to achieve it.
To do everything in our power and to contribute towards the prosperity of the nation.
To always take care of this freedom and treat each other with equality, respect, and unity.
And we promise to always protect and take pride in our nation and its people.
The Independence Day celebration remains incomplete without rising with the national song. The national song is a patriotic musical composition symbolizing and evoking eulogies of the traditions and history of a country. It's an emotion, the emotion of pride, patriotism, and love for the nation, and respect for the people who have sacrificed for it. So, as the celebration comes to an end, I would request all of you to please rise for the national song presented by the students of Khaitan Performing Arts Society.